holding in your hands, Jason?
It's a magic lamp. Whenever I rub it, a genie appears who can grant any wish.
Oh, come on, silly. There's no such thing as a magic lamp.
That's what Aladdin thought. He's the young boy in our next story who finds a magic lamp just like this one.
If you could have any wish, Jason, what would it be?
I'd wish for an ice cream soda.
Anything else?
Well, I'd wish that all the people in the world could be friends.
That's a nice wish, Jason. I'm proud of you.
What would you wish for, Jennifer?
I guess I'd wish that the next story would begin.
Well, let's just rub this magic lamp and see what happens.
Okay.
Aladdin was a young man who lived with his mother in a part of the world called Persia. One day, while playing with some friends, he was approached by a dark, bearded man.
My lad, I know where there is buried treasure, but I need the help of a strong young man like yourself to get it. Help me and you'll get half a share.
Buried treasure, huh? Let me just check my appointment book. Make sure I have nothing else to do today. Let's see. Looks like I'm free today. Let's go.
Words like buried treasure always made Aladdin a bit foolish. He didn't know that the bearded man was really a famous magician from Africa who was up to no good. Aladdin followed the man through the countryside, listening to stories of his homeland. Finally, they came to a small valley. There, the magician built a fire and tossed a handful of magic powder on it.
Abracadabra.
Suddenly, the earth trembled and a large hole opened by their feet. It revealed a passageway that led deep into the ground.
Now listen to me carefully. Follow this passage and it will take you to a beautiful underground garden. In the center of the garden is an oil lamp. Pour out the oil and bring the lamp to me.
The magician didn't tell Aladdin that the oil lamp was really a magic lamp with great powers. The magician needed Aladdin's help because he was afraid of the dark. It was a long passageway, and the magician grew tired of waiting for Aladdin to return. Whenever he was impatient, he would start to mumble to himself. Unfortunately, the magician didn't always think before he spoke. Some of the words he mumbled were magic words.
Abracadabra. No, wrong word.
The passageway closed up as suddenly as it had opened, trapping Aladdin inside with the magic lamp.
Oops. Oh, well, better luck next time. I guess I'll go fishing.
All day and night, Aladdin was trapped in the dark passageway. To stay warm, he rubbed his hands together, and when he did, he also happened to rub the magic lamp. Suddenly, an enormous genie, at least 10 feet tall, rose like a puff of smoke from the lamp.
I am the slave of the lamp. What is your wish, master?
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to the worms down here. Of course I'm talking to you. Well, tell me, what is your wish?
I wish to get me out of this hole in the ground.
So granted.
Magically, the earth opened, and Aladdin found himself back in the morning sunlight. He then brought the lamp home to show his mother.
What kind of a lamp is this? Where do you put the light bulbs?
There are no light bulbs, Mother. It's a magic oil lamp.
Magic schmagic. I'll tell you what it is. It's dirty. Let me rub it clean.
Mother, wait! I wouldn't do that.
I am the slave of the lamp. What is your wish?
I wish you'd knock before you come in and wipe your feet off before you walk on the rug.
That's your wish? So granted.
No, Genie, there's more. We wish for a hot dog on a bun.
Wow, I don't know if I can take the excitement.
To the surprise of Aladdin's mother, a hot dog appeared in her hand. She ate it with relish. Well, actually, with mustard. Still, she thought the lamp was evil and begged her son to sell it. But Aladdin refused. Instead, he asked the genie for gold, which he and his mother lived on for many years. One day, the Sultan of Persia, who was like a king but even more powerful, announced that it was time for the princess, his daughter, to be married. Aladdin had loved the girl from afar for many years. He begged his mother to tell the Sultan.
Now, son, why should the Sultan even speak with me?
Let's give him a reason, Mother. Where's my magic lamp?
Aladdin asked the genie for the world's most beautiful jewels.
Look at these, Mother. Now the Sultan will see you.
The Sultan was very impressed by the jewels, but he wanted further proof of Aladdin's wealth. Again, Aladdin called upon the genie. He asked for a magnificent palace made from the world's finest marble and most precious stones. The palace was completed in one day. The Sultan was very impressed, as was his daughter, who accepted Aladdin's marriage proposal. There was a great wedding feast, and the young couple was very happy. Now, far away in Africa, the magician heard about Aladdin's new marriage and great wealth.
So, the boy somehow escaped from the cave with a magic lamp. Well, I'll get it back, no matter what it takes.
The magician returned to Persia. He disguised himself as an old peddler, and when Aladdin was away on business, he presented himself to the princess.
I am an old peddler. I trade my new oil lamps for old ones. I collect them as a hobby.
The princess didn't know about the power of Aladdin's magic lamp and thought this was a good time to trade it for a nice new shiny one. When she handed it to the magician, he threw off his disguise and rubbed the lamp. In a puff of smoke, the genie appeared.
I am the slave of the lamp. What is your wish?
Take the princess and this palace back to my homeland.
So granted.
That next morning, the Sultan looked out the window and rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Aladdin's palace was gone, as was the Sultan's daughter. Only the evil magician knew where they had gone. Each day he brought the princess roses, but each day she only cried because she missed Aladdin. For many months, Aladdin hopelessly searched for his wife and palace. He finally located them by remembering all the stories the magician had told him. Late one night, Aladdin sneaked into the palace. When the princess saw him, she cried with happiness. She told Aladdin how she had been tricked into giving the magic lamp to the evil magician.
Well, then we'll just trick him right back. Here's my plan.
That next morning, the magician returned.
My princess, I have brought you roses.
Thank you, my love.
My love? Did you call me my love?
Yes, but if you really love me, you'll sell that old, ugly oil lamp you always carry in your coat pocket.
You mean this old thing, Honey Bunch?
Bring it closer for me to see.
Got it. Thanks, magician.
Hey! What the? It's you, Aladdin! I've been tricked!
I have more tricks, magician. I'll just rub the lamp and...
I am the slave of the lamp. What is your wish?
I wish you to be freed, genie, and I wish for this evil magician to forever be the slave of the lamp.
Oh, thank you, master. I've been bottled up in here for too long. Now I can finally move into a real home. Your wishes are so granted.
The magician was transformed into the new slave of the lamp.
So, magician, how do you like your new home?
It's dark in here, Aladdin.
That's what you get for being so evil. Now, for my first wish, I want you to send us all back home to Persia.
Yes, so granted. Golly, I don't like this job, not one bit.
When next the Sultan of Persia looked out his window, there was the palace just where it had been, and his daughter had returned safely home. The old magician remained slave of the magic lamp, and Aladdin and the princess lived happily ever after.
Jason, I thought you were going to get us some milk and cookies.
Oh, gee, Jennifer. I'll tell you what.
What?
If you get the milk and cookies, I'll help you eat them.
That's very kind of you, Jason.
Not at all.
You sound like some of the characters in our next story. It's called The Rooster and the Fox and a Little Red Hen.
Great. You get the milk and cookies, and then we'll listen to it.
Maybe we should listen to the story first. You might learn something about doing things for yourself.
By the way, do you know what you get when you mix a duck with a rooster?
an animal that wakes you up at the quack of dawn.
High up on a hill overlooking a valley, there sat a pretty little house. It had a pretty yellow door and 4 little windows made of frosted glass. Inside, there lived a rooster and a mouse and a little red hen. Not far away on a second hill just across the valley, there was another little house. This one had an old creaky door and 2 broken windows and paint that was peeling off the walls. In summer, the heat was unbearable, and in winter, the wind crept through the old floorboards. Inside there lived a big bad fox and 4 bad little foxes. Early one morning, the 4 bad little foxes came down to the breakfast table, but they found it empty.
Oh, Father, is there nothing to eat?
Quiet, son. I'm thinking.
About what, Father?
About where we can get some food, that's what. Did you guys ever consider maybe helping me out? Like maybe doing a little foraging in the woods?
That's a good idea, Father. What is foraging?
Foraging? It's... if I knew, don't you think I'd be doing it, for crying out loud? Now let me think.
But, Father, we're hungry. We had nothing to eat yesterday.
And almost nothing to eat the day before.
Wait a minute. By golly, I've got an idea. You see that pretty little house over there on the other hill? In that house lives a rooster.
And a mouse.
And a little red hen. And they're all big and fat.
Precisely. Breakfast is just on that other side of the valley. Now, this is what we'll do. We'll take this big old sack down the hill, across the stream, up that other hill, into the little house, and we'll grab the rooster and the mouse and the little red hen. Then we'll carry them back here for breakfast.
Oh, Father, we're so proud of you.
I know, on account of I'm a genius. Let's go, men.
But, Father, that's your job. We can't carry such a big breakfast.
Yeah, show us how big and strong you are.
4 lazy little foxes. What's a father to do? All right, off I go. But the breakfast table better be ready when I get back.
Yes, brave Father.
Spoiled brats.
On the other side of the hill, where the rooster and the mouse and the little red hen lived, the rooster was the first to wake up, which never pleased the mouse very much. "Must you make so much noise? I need my sleep," said the mouse. "Cock-a-doodle-doo," said the rooster. "Beauty rest wouldn't help you one bit, believe me." The mouse simply turned his back in a huff. It was just one of those mornings. The rooster and the mouse fought over who would brush his teeth first and whether the house was too hot or too cold, and they continued to grumble and bicker as they walked downstairs to the kitchen. The little red hen was already there, and she was in a bright, cheerful mood. "It's breakfast time," said the little red hen, "the best time of the day. Who will help get some sticks to light the fire?" "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Then I'll have to do it myself," said the little red hen, and off she went to get the sticks. Soon she returned. "Now, who will fill the kettle with water?" asked the little red hen. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Well, then I'll have to do it myself," said the little red hen, and she filled the kettle. "Now, who will cook the breakfast?" asked the little red hen. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Well, then I'll have to do it myself," said the little red hen. Then she said with a smile, "Who will help me eat the breakfast?" "Of course I will," said the rooster. "Me too," said the mouse. The little red hen was so good-natured that she welcomed them both to the table. During breakfast, the rooster spilled the milk, and the mouse dropped crumbs all over the floor. And then they accused each other of making the bigger mess. "Who will clean it up?" asked the little red hen. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Let me guess," sighed the little red hen. "I'll have to do it all by myself." "Good guess," said the rooster. Let's take a nap, suggested the mouse. And so while the little red hen mopped up the milk and swept away the crumbs and washed the dishes, the rooster and the mouse both fell asleep by the fire. Meanwhile, the big bad fox had climbed the hill to their pretty house. He stared into the window and hungrily licked his chops.
Yummy, yummy. Get ready, you starving old tummy.
If the rooster and mouse had not been so lazy and fallen asleep, they would have seen the fox eyeing them so hungrily. I wonder who that is, yawned the rooster, still half asleep. Maybe it's the milkman with more to eat, suggested the mouse. And so, without even looking to see who it was, he turned the knob and opened the door.
Not very smart, opening a door for strangers, my little fat friends.
It's the bad fox, screeched the mouse. Please, eat the rooster instead of me. I'm just skin and bones. But the rooster said, No, take the mouse. He's nice and bite-sized.
Gee, I don't know. I think you both look kind of good. Here, get into my sack. That's the way. Got you both. Now where's that fat little red hen?
At that very moment, the little red hen raced in from the kitchen to see what all the fuss was about. The fox grabbed her too. Then he tied up the sack, tossed it over his shoulder, and set off down the hill. I wish I hadn't been so lazy, said the rooster. Me too, whimpered the mouse, and they both began to cry. Don't worry, whispered the little red hen. I've brought my sewing kit with me. She showed them a pair of scissors, a thimble, needle, and thread. It was getting very hot, and without the help of the bad little foxes, the bag was becoming too heavy for the bad father fox to carry. So he put it down and decided to take a nap. As soon as he began to snore, the little red hen used her scissors to cut a hole in the sack. Hurry, she told her friends. Each of you run as fast as you can and bring back a stone that's exactly as big as you. The mouse returned with the smallest stone, which he put in the sack. The rooster returned with a bigger stone, and the little red hen returned with a stone that was just as big as she. Then the little red hen put on her thimble, took out the needle and thread, and quickly sewed up the hole. Then they all ran safely home. When the father fox woke up, he again tossed the sack over his shoulder and started on his way.
Oh, this bag has gotten awfully heavy. I guess I'm not as young as I used to be.
When the fox came to the stream, he tried to walk across very carefully. But the stones in the sack were so heavy that he stumbled and fell into the deepest part of the stream. He watched helplessly as the bag sank down to the bottom. You can be sure that he wasn't a happy fox when he returned home.
Oh, Father, you've returned without breakfast.
I was busy fishing in the stream. The next time I get a bright idea, do me a favor. Tell me to forget it.
The 4 greedy little foxes had to go to bed without supper. But on the other side of the hill, the rooster and the mouse said they would never again grumble about doing work around the house. They lit the fire and filled the kettle and cooked the breakfast and even cleaned up, while the little red hen took a well-deserved vacation. And they were never again bothered by the big bad father fox or his lazy little foxes.
Jason, what are you eating?
A carrot. Did you know that carrots are good for your eyes?
How can you be sure?
Well, did you ever see a bunny wearing glasses?
Let me guess. Our next story is about a rabbit?
Sort of. He's a kind of rabbit called a hare, and he has a race with a tortoise.
Oh, I hope the story has a happy ending.
Of course. In any story about a rabbit, everyone always lives, happily ever after.
Oh.
Welcome, boys and girls, to the big race we've all been waiting for between the Tortoise and the Hare. Hi, I'm Ralphie Raccoon.
And I'm Linda Llama, down here on the grassy lawn where the two challengers are getting ready for their exciting foot race to the finish line. Back to you, Ralphie.
Thanks, Linda. Now remember, a tortoise is really just another name for a turtle. And as you all know, turtles move very slowly.
And a hare is very similar to a rabbit. Maybe a hare is a little faster than a rabbit and has longer ears. And a hare probably has, well, more hair. Of course, both rabbits and hares move very fast, which is why everyone expects the hare to win this race over the turtle.
As our two contestants take their warm-up stretches, let me introduce them. First, here's the tortoise. Now, everything the tortoise does is very slow and steady. He walks slowly and steady.
Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum. Oh, golly gee. You'd walk slowly, too, if you had to carry your house on your back all day.
The hare, on the other hand, is as fast as the wind. There he goes now.
Oh, I've got places to go, things to do, people to meet. Oh, my, oh, my, oh, my, oh, my. Oh, I'm so late. Gotta move. Hey, move over. The tortoise eats slowly, brushes his teeth slowly, and even sleeps slowly.
But not the hare. He sleeps very quickly.
Oh, I'm awake. Gotta go.
And he eats like a real pig.
Oh, a taste of soup, a bit of lettuce, a bunch of carrots, some more soup. Munch. One day, while the tortoise was taking a nice leisurely stroll, the hare began to make fun of him. However, much to the hare's surprise, the tortoise only laughed.
Go ahead and tease me. I challenge you to a race. And I bet I will finish first.
Are you challenging me to a race? Why, I'll run circles around you. I'll do the bunny hop to the finish line.
Well, then, we'll race tomorrow. Let's ask the owl if he'll be the judge. There's the owl now.
Woo! You! Woo! I said you, the owl. Oh, forget it. We'll ask the fox. Woo! The fox! Oh, let's just race.
We're back with you live as the race is just about to start. For the play-by-play, let's listen to Ralphie Raccoon. Ralph?
The fox is waving the starting flag, and they're off. There goes the hare. And somewhere in his cloud of dust is the tortoise.
It's a lovely day for a stroll. I just wish it wasn't so dusty.
Linda, what are the spectators on the sideline saying about this race?
I'm here with Froggy the Frog.
I think the slow tortoise is so slow that he needs to drive a car to beat the hare to the finish line.
Did you offer to let him use your car?
I couldn't. It has a flat tire.
Oh, that's too bad. What does a frog do when he has a flat tire?
He calls a tow truck.
Yes. Well, I think we'd better go back to you, Ralphie.
The race is now halfway over, and what's this? The hare is so confident of winning this race that he has decided to take a nap. I don't believe it! Now, this looks like a nice, soft spot for me to lay down. Meanwhile, the tortoise is continuing to move along at his own slow, steady pace. On and on as the race continues, straight to the finish line. The hare is just beginning to wake up. What a pleasant nap. Now, let me see. Where is that slow-footed tortoise? I don't see him at all. Oh, well, he is so slow, I may as well run to the finish line and wait for him there. Run. Here it is, the finish line at last.
Oh, hello, hare. I've been waiting for you all afternoon.
And the winner by a mile is the tortoise. But I don't understand. How did you possibly beat me in the race?
I'll tell you how the tortoise won this race. He simply moved at his own pace and believed in himself. I guess we learned a valuable lesson here. Just because someone else is faster or naturally better at doing something, it doesn't mean we shouldn't also try. Because as long as you try and keep trying at whatever pace is right for you, you're a winner. And of that, you should be proud.
That's right, Linda. I see that the hare is hopping mad. He realizes that no one should waste their natural abilities by being boastful or overconfident or lazy. And so, for Linda Llama,
bye-bye.
This is Ralphie Raccoon reminding you to tune in again next week when the porcupine tells jokes and tries to get his point across.
That porcupine always was a sharp fellow.
Bye for now.
What are you building, Jason?
A doghouse.
Oh, I'd rather have a cat than a dog any day. Cats are much smarter.
No, they're not. Didn't you ever hear the saying, dogs are a man's best friend?
I'd still rather have a nice, sweet, cuddly pussycat. If I had one, I'd name him Puss.
That's funny, because Puss is the name of the cat in our next story.
Well, just one thing, Jason. Do you think you can stop your hammering long enough for us to hear the story?
Well, I have to... Ow! My thumb! Golly, Jennifer, I think I might have to stop hammering. Ow! Oh!
Deep in the countryside, there once lived an old man who decided it was time to divide the few things he owned among his 3 sons. The eldest son received his father's mill, which was useful for making flour. The second son received a donkey, which is a very strong animal. And the youngest son was left only with a cat named Puss.
Somehow this doesn't seem very fair. My brothers can use their mill and donkey to earn a living. But of what use is a cat, unless you want to pet his fur?
Pet my fur, indeed.
Who said that?
Well, it certainly wasn't that silly donkey.
Puss? Was that you? I always knew you were a smart cat, but I had no idea you could speak.
Well, that's because I never had very much to say before. But, Master, don't be sad. You have received the best part of your father's estate, which, of course, is me.
I don't understand.
If you can find me a pair of boots to protect my feet from all these prickly shrubs and a cloth sack with a heavy cord, I promise to make you meowie, meowie happy.
Meowie, meowie happy? Great. I not only inherited a cat, but one with a corny sense of humor.
But the youngest son trusted Puss and did just as he was told. He found a pair of red boots which fit the cat's paws perfectly, and a cloth sack with a heavy cord for tying it up. Puss filled the sack with carrots and lettuce and went to a patch of land where rabbits were known to play. As Puss hid behind a tree, a foolish rabbit smelled the food and jumped right into the sack. Puss pulled the string tight and then hurried to the king's palace, where he introduced himself to the king as the servant of the Marquis of Carabas. Of course, that was just a fancy-sounding name he made up.
The Marquis of Carabas? I've never heard of such an individual. But as I love rabbits, tell your master that I am very pleased by his generous gift.
The following day, Puss filled his sack with grain. When 2 canaries flew into his sack to eat the grain, Puss pulled tight the cord on the sack. Then he brought the captured canaries to the king.
Your Majesty, the Marquis of Carabas would like you to accept these birds as a gift.
Oh, I do love to hear canaries sing. They will be very happy here. Tell your master that I am pleased by his generous gift.
The clever cat kept finding gifts for the king. Then, one day, while Puss was leaving the king's castle, he overheard the soldiers say that the king and his beautiful daughter would be taking a ride along the riverbank. This gave Puss a great idea. He ran home to his master and said to him,
Master, if you follow my advice, all your wishes will soon be answered. I want you to go to the river for a swim. Leave everything else to me.
Well, a swim would be nice in this hot weather. Okay, Puss, I'll do it.
The youngest son went to the river and jumped in. A few moments later, the king's carriage came riding by, and Puss cried out for all to hear.
Help! Help! The Marquis of Carabas is drowning!
Hey, what's all that racket? Oh, why, there's the clever little cat who has brought me so many gifts. Stop the coach right now.
Ho, 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 ho!
Quick, coachman, jump into the river and save the Marquis of Carabas.
While the soldiers helped the youngest son from the water, Puss told the king that thieves had stolen his master's clothes. Actually, the cat had hidden them under a large rock because they were too old and tattered to be worn by a nobleman. The king ordered a soldier to hurry to the palace and return with one of his finest suits. When the youngest son, who everyone thought was really the Marquis of Carabas, was dressed, he looked very much like a nobleman. He thanked the king and agreed to ride with him and his daughter in their carriage. The princess couldn't believe how handsome this young man looked. Before long, she was in love. As the carriage again started on its journey, Puss ran ahead and announced to whomever he met,
The king will be riding by. If he should ask who owns this land, please say it is the Marquis of Carabas.
And that's just what happened. When the carriage drove by some farmers who were planting seeds, the king asked,
Who owns this marvelous land?
Why, the Marquis of Carabas!
They all replied. As the carriage continued on its way, it passed some farmers who cut the grass in the meadow. Again, the king asked,
Who owns this marvelous land?
And again they all replied,
The Marquis of Carabas!
Finally, Puss arrived at an old, large castle. It belonged to a giant who was both mean and very rich. In fact, it was the giant who really owned all this land. The giant was also a clever magician. Puss took a deep breath, then tapped his paw against the castle's enormous front door.
Well, well, a little kitty cat. Come inside and have a saucer of milk. Then maybe I'll eat you for dinner.
But I've come such a long way to pay my respects to you, the greatest magician of all the land. I hear that you have the magic powers to transform yourself into any animal.
I could turn into a lion right now and eat you right up. Yep, eat you right up.
Suddenly there was a loud roar, and the giant transformed into a ferocious lion. Puss was terrified and hid under a chair.
Not bad. I don't suppose you can become something even larger.
How about an elephant?
Pretty good. Watch that trunk. I've heard that you can also turn into small animals, like a rat or even a mouse. But I don't believe it.
Oh, you don't, do you? Well, then watch this.
In a moment, the elephant changed into a little mouse and began to scamper about across the floor. That was just what the cat was waiting for. He pounced on the mouse, as cats will do, and gobbled him up. That was the end of the mouse, and the end of the mean giant. Soon the king's coach arrived at the castle. Puss ran outside and welcomed them all to the castle of the Marquis of Carabas. The youngest son, or shall we say, the Marquis of Carabas, took the hand of the young princess, and together they followed the king into the castle. The king was very impressed.
So, this is your castle? Oh, how magnificent.
Yes, well...
The king gave his permission for the Marquis to marry his daughter. They celebrated with a huge feast prepared by the castle servants, who were very happy to be rid of that mean giant. Puss became a great lord who was highly respected, especially by the mice, who did their best to stay out of his way. And the princess and the Marquis lived happily ever after.
Oh, Jennifer, my memory's getting worse and worse. I can't seem to remember anything. I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday or what color socks I'm wearing today. What should I do?
How long have you had this problem?
What problem?
Jason, I think our next story will do you some good. It has a fun little song that keeps getting longer because each time it's sung, new words are added to it. We may not be able to remember all the words, but it'll be fun trying.
Hey, I remember now.
What do you remember?
My socks. I'm wearing one blue and one red.
Jason. Our story begins early one morning, around breakfast time. On the farm, all the hens were hungrily munching on their corn, including Henny Penny, who was the sweetest little hen of them all. Suddenly, something fell from the tree and hit Henny Penny on the head. Ooh! Oh my goodness gracious, that hurt! I think the sky is falling. Oh, I simply must go tell the king. And so, Henny Penny went to the king to say the sky is falling. On the way, she met her friend Cocky Locky. Cock-a-doodle-doo! Good morning, Cocky Locky. Cock-a-doodle-doo to you, Henny Penny. Where are you going this fine morning? I'm going to tell the king the sky is falling. My, oh, that does sound like important news. May I come with you? Why, certainly. And so, Henny Penny and Cocky Locky went to the king to say the sky is falling. Along the way, they met Ducky Daddles. Quack, quack. Ducky Daddles was a curious sort of fellow, so he asked, Where are you going? Quack, quack. Oh, we're going to tell the king the sky is falling, replied Henny Penny and Cocky Locky. May I come with you? Asked Ducky Daddles. Certainly, replied Henny Penny and Cocky Locky. So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, and Ducky Daddles went to the king to say the sky is falling. And they continued on their journey. After a short while, they met Goosey Poosey. Honk, honk! Goosey Poosey was a silly little goose and liked to know everyone's business. You're all in a big rush this morning. Where on earth are you going? Honk, honk. We're going to tell the king the sky is falling, said Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, and Ducky Daddles. Oh, may I come with you? Asked Goosey Poosey. Certainly, said Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, and Ducky Daddles. So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, and Goosey Poosey went to the king to say the sky is falling. They continued on their long journey, and once again they met up with an old friend. Gobble, gobble, gobble. It was Turkey Lurkey. Where are you all going? Gobble, gobble, gobble. We're going to tell the king the sky is falling, answered Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, and Goosey Poosey. May I come with you? Inquired Turkey Lurkey. Certainly, said Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, and Goosey Poosey. So, Turkey Lurkey joined them, and that made 5. Can you name them all? So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey went to the king to say the sky is falling. It was a long walk, and by mid-afternoon they met up with none other than Foxy Woxy.
Good people.
Foxy Woxy was very shrewd and usually could outfox anyone in a crowd. But on this day, even Foxy Woxy was surprised to see all the animals walking so purposely.
Tell me, my good chums, might I inquire where it is that you all might be heading?
We're going to tell the king the sky is falling, answered Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey.
May I endeavor to come with you?
Certainly, replied Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey. Now there were 6 on their way to see the king. Can you help us name them all? So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, Turkey Lurkey, and Foxy Woxy went to the king to say the sky is falling. And as they traveled further down the road, Foxy Woxy looked around and said,
Point of information, good people. We have made a wrong turn. But fear not, for I know the correct directions. Shall I lead on?
Oh, that would be very kind of you, Foxy Woxy, said Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey. Foxy Woxy smiled to himself.
Then follow me, good chums.
And on they went. A piano chord. Well, you know what that means, don't you? So, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, Turkey Lurkey, and Foxy Woxy went to the king to say the sky is falling. And they continued on their long walk until they came to a small, dark hole in the ground. It was the secret door to Foxy Woxy's hidden underground hideout. But that's not what he told the others.
Ahem. This is a shortcut to the king's palace, my dear Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and,
Turkey Lurkey.
Silly me, of course, Turkey Lurkey. Now we'll get to the king's palace much sooner if we take this shortcut. Will you all follow me?
Of course we will, said Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey. And they all followed Foxy Woxy into the dark hole. But it was a trick. Why, gobble, 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 I can't see where I'm going.
Into my stomach, my dear delicious friend.
And with that, Foxy Woxy swallowed up Turkey Lurkey. Then Goosey Poosey came next, and Foxy Woxy ate him up too. Then down the hole came Ducky Daddles, and down into Foxy Woxy's stomach he went. And then followed Cocky Locky, and Foxy Woxy swallowed him right up too.
Pardon my excess. I do get carried away. Are you coming, Henny Penny?
Luckily, Henny Penny was last and had heard everything that had happened to her friends. She turned around and ran away as fast as she could. Foxy Woxy, who of course was a fox but ate like a real pig, was so full from eating so much that he couldn't chase Henny Penny. In fact, when he tried to run, all the other animals fell out of his belly, and they too ran safely all the way home. That'll teach us not to follow strangers. It isn't safe, said Henny Penny. They had all learned a valuable lesson, but they never did make it to see the king. And so, Henny Penny, Cocky Locky, Ducky Daddles, Goosey Poosey, and Turkey Lurkey never got to tell the king that the sky is falling. Jason, do you know why birds make such inexpensive pets?
Why do birds make inexpensive pets?
Because they're always saying, cheep, 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 cheep.
Do you hear that bird singing so beautifully? It's the little Nightingale who once lived in a forest near the Emperor's palace in ancient China.
Good morning, everyone.
And there's the Emperor of all China, just as he lived a long, long time ago. His palace was the envy of all the world. It was made of priceless porcelain, and you had to be very careful when you touched anything, because porcelain breaks very easily. Here's a delicate porcelain vase. Isn't it pretty? Oops! Gotta watch those butterfingers. The floors are made of porcelain as well. Whoa! Look out! A bit slippery.
Hey, you! Are you causing trouble there?
Perhaps we should move on to the Emperor's garden. Here we find marble fountains and wood bridges and beautiful flowers with silver bells. Of course, I'm allergic to I said the flower. That they sneeze. Ah!
Oh, no, my beautiful porcelain vase!
Sorry. As we escape quickly from the garden, we enter a large forest which slopes down to the sea. Here in the trees there lived a little bird, a nightingale, who sang so beautifully that the woodcutters and local fishermen often stopped their work to hear her songs. Travelers from across the world often came to China to admire the emperor's porcelain palace and beautiful gardens, but they always came away convinced that the nightingale's sweet songs were the loveliest of China's wonders. One day, the emperor read about the nightingale in a book. He was very surprised, for this was the first he had heard about his own country's special musical bird. He called in his top advisors and wanted to learn more about her wondrous songs.
We know nothing about it, sire.
A nightingale? What is a nightingale?
Just find the little bird and bring her to me. I want to hear her sing.
The emperor's advisors asked everyone about the bird, but no one in the palace knew of her except for a little girl who worked in the kitchen and walked home through the forest each night. She knew of the nightingale whose songs brought tears to her eyes, and so she took the emperor's advisors into the forest.
What a magnificent sound! Is that the nightingale?
Talk about living a sheltered life. No, my lord, that's a cow. And on they walked.
How wonderful! That must be the nightingale.
No, you sillies. That's my Aunt Lizzie taking her dancing lessons. But we're almost there. There. Do you hear it?
Ah, so very beautiful.
Like angels singing from above.
As their eyes flooded with tears, the emperor's advisors invited the nightingale to perform at the palace that very evening. When the appointed time arrived, the whole court came to hear the music, and the nightingale began her song. It was so beautiful that everyone oohed and ahed, and tears flowed from the emperor's eyes.
You may have anything you want, little bird.
But I have already been rewarded. I have seen tears in the emperor's eyes.
The nightingale was a great success. All the court ladies tried to imitate her, even though their singing sounded terrible, like feeding time at the zoo.
There go my porcelain dishes again.
Even though the nightingale had her own golden cage and was permitted to walk in the palace garden 3 times a day, she missed her home in the forest. One day, the Emperor of Japan sent a gift. It was a mechanical wind-up nightingale, but unlike the real one, its feathers were covered with diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. The mechanical bird sang for the Emperor, and when it did, the real bird escaped from her cage and flew out the window.
We're better off with the new bird. She never gets tired.
And she's so much lovelier to look at.
The real nightingale was banished from the kingdom, while the mechanical bird was played over and over and over. Just wind it up and it sang. It always sang the same song, but no one seemed to care. Then, one evening, while the artificial bird was singing, all its springs and gears went haywire. A ratchamagadget even went flying across the room.
And I just had my porcelain vase glued back together again.
The mechanical bird had fallen apart and would no longer sing. 5 years passed, and the emperor became so ill that he was not expected to recover. Laying in bed, he wished someone would sing to him, just once. Oh, how he missed his friend, the real Nightingale. Then, outside his window, the Emperor heard the most beautiful song. And guess what? It was the real Nightingale. She had heard of the Emperor's illness and came with a song to offer hope and comfort. As she sang, life returned to the Emperor's body, and tears flowed from his eyes.
Oh, my little friend, I am well again. Please stay and sing for me always.
The Nightingale agreed, but instead of being locked in a gold cage, she lived in the forest. When she visited the Emperor, she brought with her wonderful songs about the world and all the people whom the Emperor never saw. She sang songs that were both happy and sad. And best of all, she gave the Emperor courage.
My little friend, how can I thank you?
The Nightingale replied,
The tears in your eyes when I sing are thanks enough.
And then she sang her most beautiful song, and he was very happy.